Ever since I was a little kid, I had always been told that reading was good for me. But why was it so essential for me to read at such a young age? In kindergarten, we used to have nap time, as a lot of other schools did, and if we could nap, we were told to read. I could never nap, so I was told to read, and I never really enjoyed reading. So I'd look at the pictures, or I'd pretend to nap. I can't tell you how to enjoy reading, but I can tell you the science behind what happens in your brain when you do read. The vocabulary can be improved, the patterns within the brain can be improved. And to understand these things, we'd have to go more basic and to the root of the brain and to the research that scientists have conducted. Seeing how reading changes a person's brain is the foundation of understanding how a person can be affected in their future. Reading can affect a majority of skills, mostly relating to English, but some can go to other subjects such as math. A person can develop skills in becoming more imaginative, in critical thinking, and in vocabulary. Going back to vocabulary, there was a study conducted of British citizens of about 9,400 people, of those at the age of 16 and at the age of 42. It showed that people in the older group had a more expansive vocabulary, and this shows that people who read throughout their lifetime pick up more distinct words. Advancements can come from other sources as well, such as what a person likes to read and when a person begins to love reading early. This is why it's important for a child to read. This can also correlate with the number of books in the home. Having more books, it's more prone that a child will pick up a book and learn to love reading. But having fewer books in the home can be one of the most powerful predictors of educational failure, according to Alice Sullivan and her work, The Lifelong Benefits of Reading. If we go back to what a person likes to read, we could focus on classical fiction, which more specifically can be The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald or 1984 by George Orwell. This reading genre has the most significant vocabulary improvements in adults. But all of this vocabulary information correlates with the patterns within the brain. They work together, which is very remarkable. Research done by Stanford shows that the blood flow within the brain is increased when a person reads, and that close reading almost gives the brain a workout. The brain is taking note of the story structure. In other words, or to put it more simply, the beginning, the middle, and the end. This is how the brain thinks in sequence, or it can also think in cause and effect. This creates more plasticity, which is the room available for the brain to change so that this room can be used for future learning. This creates the goal of a greater attention span and is one of the reasons why adults encourage children to read. But the brain doesn't just benefit by analyzing or picking up this more scientific information. It can help people become more empathetic by evaluating what they are thinking and feeling or seeing how other people are thinking and feeling. And this directly goes into what happens in the root of a person's brain. Brains are famously known for their remarkable intelligence. And scientists did a previous research on how the brain focuses on reading. The first time they did it, they focused on individual words, or they saw how the brain was to focus on individual words. But this method did not work for them because their machines could not keep up with the brain's natural reading speed. So they adjusted their technique and they tracked the volunteers' eye movement to see which words their eyes were paying the most attention to and therefore their brains were paying the most attention to. From that research, they conducted two theories: that words connect with one another and they work together, or that each letter represents a different symbol and symbols are put together to make words, and then this translates into something the brain can understand. This then can help the brain anticipate future words. When a person reads, they translate what they read into an image, which relates to the experiential part of the brain, which is basically relating to experience, and it relates to everyday life. And this is activated, and that's probably one of the most unique things about reading. And then from the vocabulary and from the patterns within the brain, we can conclude that the brain is affected so greatly and dramatically. These three things are amazing. Reading is something humanity does intentionally or not. And there's a magnificent science behind reading. It doesn't reveal clues about how to make reading more enjoyable, but it reveals the science behind it, which could relate to the vocabulary, that could relate to the patterns within the brain, and then we can find this out from the research that was done by scientists and neuroscientists. I can safely say that I've never really learned to enjoy napping, but I have learned to enjoy reading. And I can't tell you how to do that, as I've stated before, but it's comforting to know the science behind it. It's amazing.